are you begging for? So I'm going to turn on blast from the past? Okay.
Today we'll teach you about roads, transportation and the government, the canal boom and development of steamboats, and how New York became the national metropolis.
Woo!
Hi, I'm Kathy Saban, and I'm going to be talking to you about the roads to market and transportation in the government. Before technological improvements were put in place, settlers struggled across mountain ranges. Many walked miles, dragging crude cars containing only their most meager possessions. The fortunate pioneers traveled on horseback or in Conestoga wagons pulled by horses or oxen. The settlers realized that an efficient transportation network would increase land values, stimulate foreign and domestic trade, and strengthen the economy. The Mississippi River provided a natural highway for western commerce and communications, but it had big disadvantages. Farm products from New Orleans were able to float down on rafts and flatboats, but the trip from Pittsburgh to Mississippi took at least a month. Transportation downstream was extremely expensive and only used for the most valuable goods. The inefficiency of rivers helped get attention on building roads. The skills required to build roads of a large quantity were developed in Great Britain and France. The earliest examples were constructed in the 1790s and shaped after European highways. The first of these roads was open to traffic in 1794. Private interests built most of the improved highways and bridges as business ventures. On these highways, promoters charged toll rates set by the state. They were collected at places along the highway at thoroughfares known as turnpikes or pikes. Profits earned at a few turnpikes caused a boom in private road building. The downfalls of turnpikes were the turnpikes were expensive and very spotty. Local, state, and national governments contributed to the development of internal improvements. The government poured money into these developments. While certain roads proved adequate for the movement of settlers, they were not cheap or efficient transportation. Wagon freight rates averaged 30 cents a ton-mile. Put it this way. To transport a ton of chocolate bars from Buffalo to New York would have cost 12 times the value of chocolate bars. Turnpikes made it possible to transport goods across the Appalachians, but the expense was extreme. Horse-drawn wagons had very limited capacity and roads were very expensive to maintain. Therefore, interest turned toward the concept of water transportation. A woman makes her way down the Mississippi River on a flatboat. She is supposed to get her goods to New Orleans.
Hi, I'm Eugene, and I'll be teaching you about steamboats and the canal boom. Before 1790, rafts and flatboats dominated all river travel. But there was a slight issue. By 1820, there were 60 vessels operating between New York and Ohio, but by the end of the century, there was over 200. The great Mississippi Valley was enriched. Freight charges plummeted. Travel by steamboat was much more comfortable than travel by road and led to a boom in luxury steamboats. People with goods from upriver floated down with their goods and returned after selling them by steamboat. One problem was that the Midwestern rivers emptied into the Gulf of Mexico and didn't provide a direct link to the eastern seaboard. Canals were more expensive than roads, but power on land was given by horses, which were neither efficient or inexpensive. People thought that getting around the Appalachians was impossible, but not Mayor DeWitt Clinton. He convinced the legislators that it was possible, and in 1817, construction began on what is now the Erie Canal. The chief engineer was Benjamin Wright. While he had almost no experience, he turned out okay. One of the people he discovered, Candace White, studied the British canal systems and found an American limestone that could be made into waterproof cement so they didn't have to import it from England.
Aha!
The canal was finished in 1825 and was an immediate success. Before long, the cost of construction was recovered and it started making $3 million a year.
Hi, I'm John Stevens. I'm from New Jersey. I invented an advanced steam broiler.
Hey bro, I just got a charter using my political power to get the steamboats on New York waters.
Hi, I'm Meredith Sierra, and today I'll be talking about New York. The largest city in the nation at the time, New York was changing the American economy by essentially allowing a new form of trade to develop and prosper. In 1818, one of the greatest improvements to New York was the Black Ball Line. This began the first regularly transportation of trades between New York and England. It also enabled merchants to believe this an efficient system that they could trust to move their goods between Liverpool and New York. When the canal boom had initiated, New York became the primary source for all boats coming in and out of other nations. This caused the other states to view New York as competition, and therefore, Pennsylvania, being one of the first to revolt, completed new and complex improvements in 1834. Pennsylvania finally developed a system that was part canal and part railroad over the mountains to Pittsburgh. In the 1820s and 1830s, there was even greater desire to build canals, and almost every attempt was a failure, either financially or geographically. Although the whole of New York emporium led to some economic struggles, it also benefited the national economy greatly. It helped Western farmers and provided an abundance of them with sufficient access to canals.